Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. I'm working on some fighting words. But before we go any further, you know the routine. I need for you to like this video and also please subscribe to my channel. So in this video, I want to talk about Josh Taylor. He has an up-and-coming bout coming up. However, I'm not going to necessarily be talking about that. He mentioned Terrance Crawford's name again. Basically saying he thinks that Terrance Crawford should be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. And he gave him high praise. However, he also stated, I look forward to that fight and I believe that I can beat him. You know, there's some things that I'm seeing that, or that I've observed, that gives me good reason, and, you know, I feel confident in saying that I can beat him in a contest. I'm not mad at that. You're a champ. I mean, he's a unified champ. He has every right to believe that. He is the current champ at 140 pounds. So listen, you got every right to believe what you believe, and nothing wrong with that. However, I think this is a fight that will happen. I think it will actually happen sooner than later. And call me crazy, but I actually believe it'll happen before Crawford versus Spence. I think this fight has just a lot of potential. I mean, number one, it's international. Anytime you get two people from two completely different places, it's big news. And you know they're coming and they're clashing, so you already have that factor. They have met, and it was like a. So there's a video of them meeting, and it was respectful, but at the same time, you could tell they were just sizing each other up. And Josh Taylor, in particular, I just got a sense of, you know, that feeling you get when you see somebody and you're like, well, I thought you'd be bigger, or I don't know, I thought there'd be something else about you, but you're a little shorter than I thought. You're not as outgoing as I thought. Whatever the case may be, he kept looking at Terrance Crawford in a way that's like not necessarily disappointing. I don't want to say it was like a disappointing stare, but it was like, you're not what I thought you'd be. And you know, seeing that in somebody, I can understand for all purposes, maybe that's what he saw that gave him that extra oomph for him to say, I can beat this dude. I mean, I think there's a lot of factors. One, he's a champion. Two, he's a unified champion. Three, he doesn't have any losses. So he has no reason whatsoever on planet Earth to believe that he would lose to Terrance Crawford. But if you look at the video, it's just, I don't know. He's looking at him like, I could take this guy. But Terrence is kind of giving that same look back, like, you know, whenever you're ready. He's, it's a weird mutual respect, you know, and it's just like, whenever you're ready, you know, I'm right here. I'm not ducking and dodging. But he's looking at him like, I don't know, I just thought you'd be bigger, or, you know, I don't know. I thought you'd give a different impression in person. I think that's an interesting fight. I actually do believe we would see that before we see Terrance Crawford fighting Errol Spence. And honestly, if we were to get this fight, and I do believe we will, I don't know if it's this year, but I do believe we will. I actually, you know what? It could very well be this year, because he's mentioned his name several times. And it's very clear Josh Taylor cannot sustain the weight that he's been fighting at. He's going to have to move up eventually anyway. So personally, I mean, Josh Taylor is not a small guy. I believe he's going to probably finish his career at like 154, you know, if he has a long career. But I think it's going to be interesting. I like the matchup stylistically. I don't think Josh Taylor does anything that... The only thing that I feel that Josh Taylor does that would benefit Terrance Crawford is Terrance Crawford is a matador. You know, he will bait you in, and he's fully prepared for whatever you're coming in with. And Josh Taylor is not a sit-around type of guy. You know, he's going to be first. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to be first. And he's more than likely going to be in your face the entire time. And those are some of the things that work for Terrance Crawford. It's going to play in his favor if Josh Taylor fights like Josh Taylor. However, Josh Taylor is not just, he's not a brawler. And I don't want to give that impression. Josh Taylor is not a brawler. He's just an aggressive boxer, but he's not a brawler. Like, if he's uncomfortable or you take him there, he will go there with you. But he's not out the gate swinging wild and, you know, looping hands and all that. He's not that. He's not going to do anything like that. He is very aggressive from the gate. He will press from the gate. He is going to try to push you back from the gate, and he will use just his size just to back you up. But everything that Josh Taylor does is behind a jab. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, he's aggressive and all these things, but he's still a boxer at heart. And he comes at you from a boxer's foundation. So it's not like he's doing anything sloppy. And on top of that, he's not like a special effects type of fighter. So I think that could play in, in the hand of Terrance Crawford. But at the same time, I feel like Josh Taylor has a better chin than Terrance Crawford. At the same time, I feel like Josh Taylor probably might even hit harder than Terrance Crawford. Terrance Crawford has some knockouts and a lot of knockdowns, but for the most part, that's Terrance Crawford setting people up. And that's a lot of people walking into his punches. You know, his last with Sean Porter just he walked into that. I mean, he got baited into it, but he did walk into it. Like, it was a mutual thing. Like, I set you up and I saw the shot and I took it. True, correct. But at the same time, Sean Porter, he literally did walk into that. And then when you look at the finish, well, he was dazed from the, so. However, I think Josh Taylor could have a lot more pop. He could have a lot more pop. And because he is a traditional boxer, I don't think he could fall into a lot of traps that Terrance Crawford would set, because Taylor's not a fast fighter. So a lot of the traps that Crawford sets, yeah, it works if you're a fast fighter, or it works if you are an uncontrollable fighter. It works if you're a brawler. But it's not necessarily going to be the best. Not to say that he could not set up, but it's not necessarily going to be the best for somebody who has a boxing foundation, leads off a jab, does everything off a jab. And there's nothing special. And when I say nothing special, I don't mean that in a rude manner or anything like that. I just mean, like, he's not Lomachenko. He's not doing moves like that. He's not Tank. He's not lunging around and doing all those types of things. So he's kind of basic in his approach. But what sets him apart, I feel like, is his, and I'm talking about Taylor, kind of basic in his approach, but what sets him apart is, although he's aggressive, he's patient. And it's weird to be the two. And I know it even sounds weird to say that somebody could possibly be the two, but it's true. Because he's not a fast-paced fighter. He's not. If he feels like you're hurt, then everything changes. If Josh Taylor can back you up and he doesn't respect you, then everything changes. Everything's out of the window. But if you have his respect and he can't push you back and you two are fighting for position, then it's a different play when it comes to Josh Taylor. Either way, now this is turning into a breakdown, but either way, I feel like this is a good matchup. I actually would love to see this. If I'm not going to get Errol Spence and Terrance Crawford this year, I would love to see Terrance Crawford and Josh Taylor this year. That would be a great hold you over until we get that fight. I wouldn't be mad at that. I would actually be very pleased with that. Who knows? I actually do believe it will happen, though. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I believe it will happen before the Spence fight. So either way, I think we'll all be pleased, just as the fans and the consumers. I believe we'll all be pleased. But those are my thoughts. The routine. I want to know what you have to say. Drop your comments down below. And as always, please like and please subscribe.